Dude, I wish we would.
All right, we are back with another episode of the Hail Call. I'm joined this week with Teddy, Matt, and we have our reigning World Goose Calling champion, Mr. John Walls. Teddy's been out for the last couple of weeks, traveling some shows. Walls, you just got back from the Utah contest. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. So I was asked this year to come out and judge out at the Great Salt Lake calling contest, and I'd been invited out there before, but just could never make it happen. It's always in prime time shed hunting time for me, but made it a priority to go out this year. And man, it was incredible. The whole experience was pretty cool. I mean, since I was a judge, they kind of they set me up. They flew me out there, put me in a hotel, got a VIP ticket to this banquet dinner on Saturday night, which was awesome. We wouldn't go into more of that, but the contest itself was great. Shout out to Darren and Travis if they're listening. Those guys did a great job. They've been doing it for a handful of years now, and you can tell. I mean, it was just a well-oiled machine. Everything ran smoothly. Pretty good turnout too, as far as callers, and it was great, man.
Rolled out the red carpet for old John Walls, huh?
They did, man. Yep.
It seems like that contest, is turning into kind of like a destination contest, right? The majority of callers are either kind of on the East Coast, like where all y'all are at, or they're kind of sent, in the Midwest. And, everybody kind of goes to their little core area. And, like the Montana contest and like the Utah contest are kind of standalone in an area that doesn't really have a lot of contests. So it's cool that they have like these other events to kind of team up with. I was kind of hoping to make it out to that show this past weekend too, because it looks like so much fun. And being a guy that is kind of in the waterfowl industry, you kind of have that side of it, but then also being into the big game stuff. There's just a lot of cool stuff out there, a lot of vendors, and they auction off some tags and stuff like that. Not that I'd be able to bid on any of those, but they look pretty sweet.
Yeah, some of the money that was thrown around Saturday night was absolutely incredible. I have some videos of it, but one of the tags, I feel like it was a Utah statewide, like any season, any weapon I'm pretty sure it was a mule deer tag. Don't quote me on this, but it sold for $460,000.
Isn't that
Holy
crazy?
shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Basically $500,000 for this tag.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Was that like the most expensive one?
It was, yeah. There was a few others that probably they were in the 300,000 range and a lot in the twos and stuff like that. And then
To shoot a deer, to shoot a deer with any weapon, any time of the year, was $500,000 essentially.
Yeah, but it was on Antelope Island. It was called, which I guess is right near the Great Salt Lake. And as this tag was going off, I heard people talking about this buck. I mean, he's like 8 years old. He's only 200 inches, but people are going to go after him. So like, it's a well-known area, and it's just once in a lifetime type thing.
So I mean
Um,
that's what the tag goes for, and now you got to find, for a lot of guys they got to find an outfitter
right.
that will
To
go
take
there.
them
But I
there.
mean, but if you're paying 500 grand for a tag, you're obviously going there to shoot a trophy.
Yeah.
And most of these outfitters, like, they kind of solicit themselves to the tag buyer. There's several outfitters out there that are super well known, and I mean, and then they basically are like, hey, it wouldn't surprise me if some of these guys are also paying another 100 grand to the outfitter, and they'll have like four scouts that all they do every day is go look for that one deer. So like when
Yep.
you get there, they know exactly where that deer is pretty much at all times.
Yep.
Like it's pretty crazy how I mean, it's pretty crazy how they treat some of those animals. But in reality, that much money that's going back to conservation and stuff like that. I mean, it's a pretty good cause. What, that sheep tag at a different event was that? I don't know. Was that at SCI? There was a sheep tag that went this year for what, $3 million?
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
and I think that is the most expensive tag that's ever been sold.
So
Wow.
where does this money go?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I would assume that like your Utah Fish and Game is probably, I mean, their Department of Natural Resources, I would assume, are the ones that are getting this money. But
Well,
when they say that it's like it's basically a free for all tag. I mean, if you're paying $500,000 almost, you can go shoot that animal. I think for like the sheep, from what I've heard talking to a couple of guys at work, Jimmy John is always out at that event and is always bidding on a lot of those tags and stuff. And I don't know that he's the one that got that $3 million sheep tag, but sheep, unlike deer and unlike elk, they don't lose their horns. So a lot of times these guys, like, you can hunt them literally from January 1st until December 31st. Doesn't matter when it is. You could shoot it in the middle of summer, and a lot of these guys, that's the tough thing with like elk or deer. They might chase one of those deer and they might have all year to do it. But like, Walls, you were talking about shed hunting. What are you going to do? You could go there in March to shoot that deer, but he might not have his antlers. So what's the point?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
It's crazy. It's like, yeah, it's an any weapon, anytime. You pretty much, it's like, here you go. Here's the key to the gate. You're going in there and you can shoot it whenever with whatever you want.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. For that amount of money, they probably should work with you a little bit. It'd be pretty shitty to spend $500,000 and go on like a 1-week hunting trip after this deer like anybody else would and then be done.
I know, right? Yeah.
Did you look it up, Ted?
I'm looking at the Western Hunt Expo, and this expo is pretty huge. It's pretty well known. Well known, but I don't see. It says Western Hunt and Conservation Expo, but it doesn't say, hey, we raise money for this specific organization or this specific,
It's in an entire convention center, right, John?
Yeah, it's a huge convention center.
Salt Lake Convention Center is pretty badass. I'll give it to them.
Oh yeah, not that I've ever been to many other shows, but compared to like the Harrisburg Outdoor Show, that's a week long in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That convention center blew that place out of the water. It was night and day.
I misspoke. I just looked it up. So it was. I knew I had the three right. $1.3 million for a bighorn sheep tag in New Mexico.
Wow,
that still ain't chump change.
No, it's not. And there's a lot of different articles and stuff on it for people that want to read into it. It's cool that there's that opportunity, but obviously it's not for everybody, right? So some of these states, I think there was I think the guy that shot like a world record sheep in, I think it was South Dakota. They gave out like 2 tags. One of them is like a general auction. And then the other is like based on preference points. And we've talked about it in like some of our older episodes, but this whole preference point thing, whether it's for turkeys or for deer, is kind of the way that everything is going, because so many people are wanting to go and travel and hunt that it's getting harder to go to these places. A lot of states that used to be wide open to go shoot turkeys, Kansas, for example, you now have to go to a draw. There's a lot of states that you have to go to a draw if you want to shoot a deer that used to be over the counter. Same thing with an elk. And it's just going to keep going that way. But the problem is some of these super, super hard to get tags, you might never draw in a lifetime. Like, we're all in our 30s. We would have had to have started to apply when we were like an infant, and maybe we would be able to draw it in our lifetime. But the problem is, so say you start applying for a tag when you're 30 years old and it takes 40 points to get it. Well, now you're 75 years old. And now you're supposed to go on a sheep hunt? Like, how is that going to work? That's the reality of some of these.
Break out your all-terrain walker.
Yeah, you better hope you can ride a 4-wheeler up to somewhere where you can hunt the damn thing.
Right, but sheep, that's like one of the hardest hunts on the planet.
Yeah.
Well, John, tell us about the contest that was out there. So you're out there judging the Goose contest.
Yeah, man. So I judged everything. I judged juniors, novice, state, duck and goose, 2 regionals, and the opens. And it was great, man. I was really impressed with the amount of Main Street duck callers that were out there. There was a lot of good guys out there. The first regional of it was actually the first contest of Saturday. Dan Alt won it, and he blew awesome. He was very, very solid. I'm curious to see how he does in November, if he does what he did in Utah. It was great. Yeah, he's just very, very solid, very strong, powerful, just nailed it. And let's see, second regional, Colby Stillwell won, and he was solid too. But there was a few people that made mistakes in the first regional. They beat themselves, and there was even more on the second regional, and it was frustrating. Come to find out, Forrest Carpenter was one of them, and
Mm.
he was on his last 10 on the third round, and he squealed it. And it's like,
Damn.
I had a score in my head, but I'm like, I'm just going to wait, just going to wait. And it's like, oh man, like he nailed it. Like it was great. I think Forrest probably would have won the second regional, in my opinion, judging off my scorecard. But yeah, just a lot of callers beat themselves, and they were saying, I mean, the elevation change and stuff, their calls felt thin. Their air, and which I felt it just in my voice. I woke up the next day, it was kind of like I was dry and kind of gravelly sounding, but so I'm sure it played a little part in it. Let's see, they had Open Live Duck. Dan Alt won that as well. Again, just awesome, awesome duck caller. Open Goose was pretty solid. Forrest Carpenter won that. Chance Wadsworth got second, and David Goose was third. Another good contest. The juniors was a great turnout, man. There's a lot of young kids. It's really good to see. There's a nice little batch of young blood that's especially on the western part of the country, that's pretty talented, and I hope they stick with it. Novice was great as well. Again, there's some folks that they have all the ingredients, they just need to iron out the recipe, and they can take some big steps. So overall, man, it was a great contest as far as turnout. The prizes out there were really good. I mean, pretty sure the Open Goose and Duck paid $1,000. They won a bunch of miscellaneous things, like the trophy was a custom engraved leather duck strap, which
I
was
saw
really
that.
cool.
That looked really cool.
Yeah, they're really sweet. And they
Didn't
had a
they,
bunch of other stuff. Go ahead, Ted.
didn't they used to give out belt buckles too? Or they still do?
They still do, at least they did for the state Duck and Goose. I don't know if they used to do it for the Opens as well, but they did it for the state. Yeah, state Goose winner won a Max's too. Ryan Barnes won that. Shout out to Ryan. He sounded great. Second place won a Blackstone, which is pretty
Nice.
legit. Yeah.
That sounds like that contest pays, man.
Man, I'm telling you, man, it was great. Not that like I never was a one to like, oh man, they got good prizes, I'm gonna go to that contest. But like that's a good little perk, man. There was a lot of cool stuff there. Red Bull was a sponsor.
Well,
So
yeah, and
everybody
I
was
think
getting Red Bull, and
with that
Oh,
Western
yeah.
Hunt Expo, it seems like they're able to kind of open some doors to not waterfowl specific brands that are also going to be like at that event.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, I think if any one of us probably reached out to Blackstone and were like, hey, we're hosting a contest, they're probably going to tell us to piss off. But being Blackstone probably had a booth at the event and they were probably already sponsoring the Hunt Expo itself. It was
Yeah.
probably pretty easy to be like, yeah, we'll kick you a couple. I mean,
Yep.
it's a cool, like, non-traditional prize. It's not
Exactly.
like, oh, here's a
Yep.
box of decoys. And that was kind of something we've talked about in the past. Like, it'd be cool. You look at NWTF, some of the sponsors that they have for some of their contests, they're not like your traditional, the guy that wins the Grand National Turkey Championship probably isn't winning a 6-pack of turkey decoys.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they have some cool other stuff that they get to. So it'd be cool to kind of see everybody in like the outdoor space come together to get behind some of these events. But no, it's
Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
Every time I see it out there, they always have some pretty legit prizes as well as pretty good paychecks too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously the regionals paid, I think it was 1,500, and yeah, some other cool stuff, man. It was great. I had a great time. The whole experience was awesome, and everybody who helped running the contest did a phenomenal job, and yeah, very well organized.
Good.
There's a lot of shows and stuff going on. I mean, I don't think NWTF is still going on, is it?
No.
No, it was over last weekend, I think.
And then there's another one down in Charleston that they call it SEWE, Southeast Wildlife Expo or whatever.
Yep.
They got that going on. I don't think there's probably not a contest there, but I know that
There is.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, Joey Delmonico started it this year for the first time, and I was just looking at Facebook, and dude, the crowd that he had around this like contest, pretty impressive. It looks like I know he called me like a week before and was asking me to judge, and I was like, dude, I'm jammed up. I'm at shows, but yeah, SeaWee's a huge show, and
Yeah, it's like I have a buddy that lived in Charleston last year. He moved back home, but I mean, he was saying that when he went to it, it's like it's I don't know. It's like huge, but it's also like kind of like how the Waterfowl Festival has been like kind of artsy. Like it's kind of like that too, but like super like a lot of high rollers and stuff there too. Being in
Yeah,
Charleston, I guess you get that, but it seems like a really cool show with I mean being there's a lot of fishing there too and
yeah.
seems like a cool place.
Well, Charleston has like 250,000 people who live in Charleston
Hmm.
plus, you know what I mean? And then you compare it to some of the, like, you've got huge boat manufacturers, you've
Hmm.
got huge, hunting outfitters and dove lands and all of that fun stuff down there. So it's a big deal for SEWE to be putting it on, and it's pretty impressive what they do down there. It's cool to see that they got a contest. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Joey can plan it a little bit better, and we can kind of get a little bit more participation. Pretty sure he
Yeah.
wasn't happy about that, but then again, we just planned it earlier to help him out as much as we could. It'd be kind of cool. I know NWTF has been on my hit list for years.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then
I
Yeah.
obviously we had NWTF happen and they have all their contests, the call maker contests and all the cool products and stuff being released. It seems like, kind of everybody goes down to NWTF now, not even, not even turkey guys really. Everybody is kind of there.
Yeah, what's that guy's name?
Owens.
Dave Owens won
Dave
the
Owens.
senior overall. His YouTube video has been popping up more and more. Now I'm watching a little bit more turkey hunting, but yeah, dude,
Hmm.
pretty awesome to see some of that stuff he had. I'm trying to look like for the call makers results. Seeing who won the call making contest, but they've got so many divisions.
Oh, so many. There's decorative and working duck and working goose and wood calls, CNC, acrylic, hand turn acrylic. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's metal reed. There's shoot. I mean, I can't even guess how many calls are entered into that contest.
Dude, it's got to be upwards of a couple thousand. Imagine having to judge that.
Man, that's no thanks.
They judge it and
Okay,
put the results out in one day. The day they judge
what?
Well,
it, yes, the result. I am fairly certain on that. Because I know that I see it in Call Nuts. They judge it and the results are posted that night.
I would judge that, but not before like Easton, like we did those couple times. I think that hurt me a little bit. And yeah,
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, this you're going out there. It's 12 to 1400 calls compete
wow,
every February. Yeah, that's what they're saying on their.
wow.
Dude, what?
And then they auction all the calls off, and then the calls go for high money.
Holy shit! Some of this stuff is pretty wild. Now I can't find like the winners. I don't know if they have the. Okay, they do have the turkey winners.
Yeah, if you look on that drop down,
2025.
Ted, I know what page you're on. If you look on that drop down and you switch
Here
it,
we
you
go.
can. I know Stump cleaned up on a bunch.
Jesse Hadid won the amateur working wood duck call. James Miller. Oh yeah, look, Stump took first, third, and fifth in working wood duck call.
Now, is that a wood duck call or is that a
Wooden
wood duck
wooden duck call.
call? Okay.
Wooden duck call. Yeah.
Hmm.
Gotta
I saw
clarify
he,
that.
I saw he posted one on his Instagram. It was like incognito. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw
Didn't
that.
like a RM. I'm like, that's pretty nifty, man. Keep people on their toes a little bit.
Yeah, he won first and fourth in the Open. Brad Samples, Mike Stelzner, Ken Eason. Yeah, you see the traditional names here, man. These guys are
Mhm.
hell of a duck call maker. Stelzner won short reed goose call.
Hmm.
Yeah. Again, I feel like he's probably won that contest.
He's won a bunch of calls, like call making competitions down there.
I would just not want to judge that whatsoever.
Looked like there's a lot of calls.
Yeah, 1,200.
Yeah,
1,200 plus
that's
calls.
a lot.
Mm.
I mean, I didn't mind like judging the one out in Easton. Like that wasn't terrible, but after you've gone through like 20 some calls and hearing everybody else blowing calls, like it just gets to be, I mean, it gets to be a lot. And some of those, and I never had to judge the duck call side of it, which always seemed to have about twice as many as the goose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the goose is always like, it's like 4-1 for duck calls.
Yeah.
Those call making contests, that stuff is wild. It all comes down to, I think, like tuning preferences, really. I mean, I've only judged one, but that's kind of what I was.
Yeah.
You know.
Which can be a little bit subjective too, because everybody likes their call tuned a little bit different. But in my experience, and you'd probably agree, Ted, I think it's the same with the duck calls. You can really tell who has a good call and who can build a good call. Like it's not that like close. It seems like there's a lot of guys that, you know, if there's 40 calls, there's 5 that are pretty good. And then out of those 5, there's like 3 that are like really good. And now it's which one do I like the most?
Yeah. Yep. I would agree.
Like it's pretty segregated, I think, when you look at scores. It's
and
not
the goose calling. It's more like out of 20 calls, you've got 3, maybe 2 that are like,
right.
Okay, yeah, this one, yeah, he knows what he's looking for, you know, and then you just pick the favorite out of those 2. I don't know. Walls, you judged it a bunch. I mean,
at Easton, yeah. I mean, like Mike said, I mean, after a while, it got to be a little much when you're trying to hear and feel what the call's doing, and somebody's blowing one right next to you. It got a little tough, but.
Or 5 people have blown the call before you, so it's half full of spit.
And, yeah.
You know, and I know that we maybe talked about it in some of our real early podcasts. A couple people that has submitted calls got really pretty salty about how their calls did. And to be honest, like I think when we judged them one of the last years, which is probably 3 or 4 years ago now, the calls that were sent, like there was a couple of them. I mean, they literally just get taken out of a box and then set out to be judged. And there was a few, at least on the goose side, that like you couldn't even make a honk.
Nope.
So it's like, you know, it's like, do I think that the person sent it out that way? No, because I would assume that somebody that's going to build a goose call can probably at least do a simple honk. But, you know, in transit, whether it's temperature change, whether it gets bounced around, something moves. You know, sometimes goose calls just, you can tune it and set it down, blow it, and then the next day you pick it up and it's not the same. You know, just slight changes, but you know, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to tune that goose call? Like, and for the guy, like, oh, you sent us this call, it came out of tune, now I retuned it for you. It kind of defeats the purpose of them entering the competition.
Right.
So I know there were some people that are like, there's no way my call did this bad. And it's like, buddy, you couldn't even honk on it.
It was closer to a duck call. Yeah.
And it's not saying that's how you built the call, but
the reed's not supposed to go over top the tone channel, guys.
Yeah, we had to judge it based on how it was given to us, and it was not given to us in a very good manner.
Did you guys see Bill Saunders' thing he put up of the call that came back to his shop and the person who sent it back claimed that I didn't touch it. I did not try to retune this thing.
Dude, that happens all the time. When I was working for Scott, people would be like, yeah, you know, I this is how it came. And it's like, it looks like a dog chewed on it. Like, what did you do with
There's
these
no
guys?
way the call left the shop looking like that.
Yeah, tone board, I think on that one you're talking about, Walls, wasn't the tone board upside down?
It was upside down, yeah. Yep.
Right. So, I mean, it maybe would operate if you inhaled.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
But
take a whole lot of breath to get that break over.
Yeah.
He tried it. He tried to tune it. He tried.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I saw that. All right, well, Walls, so this is your first contest after winning 3 World Goose the 3-peat, right?
Yeah, man.
How does it feel to go out to that contest and not compete at all?
Dude, I was fine with it, but I'm not gonna lie, like after I think it was the live duck, they're like, all right, we're gonna do open goose. Part of me was like, damn. Like I should be blowing my call, you know, get ready to go back to the bullpen, bullshit with the guys. So I mean it hit me a little bit, man, but dude,
kind of like I don't know what to do with my hands. Like,
yeah,
I'm scared of that day. Like I've spent some time thinking about that, you know, and they've asked me to come out there and judge. Like, man, we'll fly you out, we'll do all this stuff, and it's like, I would love to go out there, but I'm like, you're not going to pay for my trip because I'm going to compete.
Hmm.
Like I don't know how, like you said, Walls, it's a weird feeling. I don't know how I would feel if I went out to a contest knowing I could perfectly well blow in the contest while I'm there and just not be able to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm not at the point in Easton yet. Walls, you will be this year where it's like you go out there and it's like, I guess I'm just here.
I'm gonna sit here and
Like I'm
watch
not,
it.
yeah, I'm going to sit here and watch
I'm
it.
just here so I don't
Well,
get fined.
Yeah,
Walls has got the champion of champions, which this is
right.
shaping up to be probably the best champion of champions we've had.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get what they're doing, going out there and like you're there to judge, right? They're
Yep.
paying you there to judge. But as a competitor, man, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, we all still have that competition side in us, It's like, damn. But
Mhm.
nah, man, I've done way more than I ever dreamed I'd do on a contest stage. So to be able to get back a little bit of time of my time, I don't mind at all. Don't mind.
Yeah, you say that now.
I'm
Right.
good with it, man. I'm good.
Dude, I told the guys at Delaware, that Delaware contest, don't worry, I won't call in and, I'll help you guys run it, no problem. And then what happens? They're like, go ahead and call in. I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I don't blow in the state goose anymore. I'm like, I'll take a step away. I'm good. I might do the opens, but yeah,
Right. I mean,
I'll
you're not going
judge
to
where I'm.
quit, right? You're not going to stop calling.
No, I'll never stop. I mean, I'll always do something kind of like, the the
You're going to be the next
longevity
Al
people.
Dagger.
Yeah, I'll do something at Easton every year regardless. But
Dude, I
yeah.
don't see why anybody in this game shouldn't be Al Dagger. You know what I mean? My man's been doing it for 40 years. Like,
Yeah.
and he does it just for fun,
Mhm.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
He used
pretty
to be doing it.
badass.
He used to be doing it for more than fun, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't get me wrong, he goes in every contest and he wants to win for sure. But like that last, I think it was the 21 or 20. Yeah, it was 21. He was like, I don't think I'm going to call. I'm going to break my streak. I was like, no, you're not, Dagger. And, paid for his entry fee to make sure he competed in it. But that's just, I don't know. I just don't think I could give up doing it. I'd have fun blowing in contests. You know what I mean?
well,
Yep.
Teddy, speaking of contests, your favorite contest of the year is coming up this weekend.
Yeah. Nobody come. Trying to repeat. Okay. I don't need any competition. And yeah. The muskrat skinning national outdoor show, open goose and open duck, duck with a call, duck without a call, goose with a call, goose without a call. Are you coming, Walls?
Unfortunately, I can't. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Easy money. I don't want to steal your lunch, but
I know
nah, can't make it.
Bobby's talking so much shit already. I know.
Oh yeah. No, I would if I could, but got some prior commitments going on.
Bobby and Dave Bloodsworth with his little pop machines are talking. He's all pumped up, sending me routines already.
Well, Teddy, tell the listeners about the the format of this contest and how it's run.
So a lot of people will look, a lot of people, especially like serious contest callers or whatever, they look at this contest and it's like, it's just a tune-up contest. It's not really real, but there's a lot of realism to this contest. It's 30 to 45 seconds in the first round. And I say 30 to 45 seconds because, like, if the guy with the timer doesn't like you, get off the stage. So, and then the second round, they make the cut. They cut it to 3, and that's it, right? It's $10 entry fee, and there's 25, 30 people in this contest. And if you make the top 3, then you get a minute ish, and and then they give out a plaque and a $50 check every year. But the thing about this contest is, and the reason I like it, it's just, you just go up there and do what you do on a call. There's no politics. There's no drama. You have no idea who the judges are. The judges could be different from round to round. The judges could be different in the middle of the round. It's a true actual contest, and there's something to be said about that, like 100%. anybody, and I mean anybody, has a chance to win this contest. And it's a lot of fun.
Is there a light? How does this guy? I know the answer. How do you know when you're done?
The guy waves his hat at you.
Literally.
Yeah, that's. Yep.
You better be paying attention to him,
or not. You could just
Ignore him. Keep going.
Yeah.
So is there such thing? Is there such thing of blowing the hat?
No, I don't think I've ever seen that. There,
disqualified.
No,
DQ for blowing the hat.
I don't think anyone's been disqualified. But yeah,
just publicly shamed.
That contest is down neck, man. And it's I don't know, dude.
It is.
I enjoyed it.
It was one of the most fun contests I've ever been to. I only went there twice, and each time I've won something. So you're welcome, Ted. But I'm not gonna be there. But it is fun, man. It's a crapshoot.
Did you win the duck call or the goose call?
Yes.
Okay.
I won goose calling without a call one year and duck call, and then I won 2 one year. I think I won goose calling without a call, duck calling with a call, and then the next year, I think I didn't win. Maybe I placed with duck calling without a call or something, or I don't know. I can't remember. Trophies are out in the garage somewhere.
Oh, dude, I got mine hanging up right here. They're my prized possession. Yeah,
they're awesome. Yeah.
No, it's like I said. I mean, it's pretty cool. There's so many juniors in this contest, man. It's wild. Yeah. There's like, I'm not kidding. There's going to be more juniors at this contest than there will be at Easton, no doubt. It's just a fun contest.
Well, it's at an elementary school, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the whole thing about this thing, it's like, we got a contest, and you go to Easton or where you go to like one of these big contests like Dive Bomb, and like that's the main attraction for this contest, right? The duck and the goose and they got turkey calling there too. The turkey calling, no one gives a shit, right? Like no one cares about this. The people are there to see the muskrat skinning. That is what people are there to see. And that's not the only thing they got. They got log sawing, they got trot line baiting, they got oyster shucking. They've got all sorts of stuff going on. If you're not doing anything Saturday, I suggest you attend.
I think I'm going to make plans to head south on Saturday.
Well, bring $10 and compete because, like I said, everybody.
It's a total crapshoot, and I like gambling, so.
I mean, it's it's whatever they're feeling on that day. I mean, it's pretty cool. I enjoy the contest a lot, but then again, it's no one has any like you can't say, oh well, fuck the judges because you got no clue who they are, right? There's none of that.
It sounds like they don't know who they are either.
Well, there's something to be said for that though, right? Like there's it's a lot of fun that way, and I don't know, maybe that's the way contest calling was back in the day, before we cared about the judges and all that shit. Kind of interesting, kind of a blast from the past.
Yeah.
And you get to see all sorts of crazy stuff down in Dorchester County. It's wild. And when you think you're there, you're not. You got to keep going out in the middle of the marsh.
Literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you're driving through the wildlife refuge, and then pop, there's an elementary school like out of the
really.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All sites, there's all kinds of sites to see there.
You're gonna see.
I would go, Matt. I would go.
What did you say that is, Ted?
That's this Saturday at the National Outdoor Show.
Isn't it going to be like bad weather?
They don't care.
Doesn't make it happen. Put the truck in 4-wheel drive and get there.
Be honest with you, they probably don't want any out of towners to come. They just want the local people there. But yeah, I mean, we could get 3 inches of snow. We could get 2 feet of snow. That contest is going to happen.
How much snow do you have on the ground now?
None.
Oh, it all melted.
It all melted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ted, you've been a traveling man too.
I have. Yeah, been on the road for probably what feels like a month now. I've been to Phoenix, Arizona, Fort Worth. I went to Vegas 3 times and went to Reno. Got stuck in Vegas because of Reno. Traveling on airplanes are terrible. But I did go to SHOT Show.
Well, as if it isn't bad enough, like you said, traveling on airplanes, How many airplane crashes have we had lately? Another one like yesterday or the day
Yesterday.
before?
Yeah,
Do
just
you
yesterday.
do you think we're just hearing about that because now the national media wants to cover them all, or like?
Well, God, I hope there's not that many plane crashes.
I know. My God.
I mean, obviously, there's going to be more car accidents than plane crashes. They say it's like the safest way to travel, but lately it's like I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's Philly and DC, and it didn't really look like the safest air. Where was the last one where that United or American flight flipped
I think it was
over?
No,
Minneapolis, wasn't it?
that was a Delta. No, that wasn't here. I don't know where
It
that
was
was.
Toronto.
There was
Toronto.
snow. There was
Pretty
snow on the
damn
ground,
snowy.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty damn
It
snowy.
didn't
I was
look like a
surprised that
plane
they were
should be
even
landing.
flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It looked,
That's
to
kinda-
be honest, I thought it was AI. Like the
Honestly,
first video
right.
I saw, because I was looking, it was just like some guy. I mean, I can't imagine that I would have this same reaction. A guy's filming some random plane just like landing. You know what I mean? Like, how do you know that a plane's going to crash? Like, if you're sitting in a plane on the runway waiting to go, and all of a sudden here comes a plane, you just happen to film it, and this plane like touches down and then rolls and flips upside down, the guy's like, the plane crashed.
well, there's
Like,
the
it wasn't
people-
like, I'd be like, holy shit. Like, if I was on that plane, I'd be freaking out. Like, somebody needs to go help these people. Like, holy shit. You just watched
Yeah.
a huge plane just crash right in
Did you
front of you
guys
right
see the
before you're
video?
getting ready to
Did
leave.
you guys see the video of the guy getting out of the plane?
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was wild.
That was crazy. Apparently, there was like a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust as soon as the plane landed.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Well, and to be honest, it
you're
looked
right.
like it was probably slick conditions. So
Yeah.
if that happened and all of a sudden that plane started, drifting a little bit,
That's
going
why
that-
all my flights out of Vegas got canceled. I got stuck in Vegas for 3 days because of 80-mile-an-hour winds in Reno.
oh, really?
Wow.
I saw that Chance got stuck and they had to drive 12 hours home yesterday or something.
That's for the birds right there. No.
I'll tell you, we when I was coming back to Philadelphia, Teddy and Matt, you guys probably saw those winds on Sunday. I
Oh,
guess it was
crazy.
bad.
We
And,
had those winds here on Saturday.
We started descending. I looked on the flight map. We were like just east of Pittsburgh, and from then on out, like it was bad, man. I mean, I've been in some turbulence before. Not that I fly a lot, but I said a couple prayers, like get this damn plane on the ground, dude. And yeah, it was pretty sketchy. Not gonna lie.
Dude, she gets bumpy on the way down sometimes when that wind is puffing. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we landed, like you could feel the rear tires hit. And I mean, I'm waiting for the front to go down and we start braking. And it's like, we're going and we're going and we're going. I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit. And finally that front tire hit, man. And yeah, it was hard.
You still feel it sometimes, like skating around, like you just feel like you're
Yeah.
zigzagging, snake crawling down the runway.
Keeping
Yeah,
that
which
thing
we
at 12
did.
o'clock, popping a wheelie.
Ugh.
Dude, you ever been on a plane?
Go ahead.
You ever been on one where they come down and then you feel the back tires hit and the captain's like, no, not right now. And then they take off again?
Yes,
No.
that's
Dude,
happened to me
yeah.
once.
No,
That's pretty
I have
wild,
not.
too. That's pretty nuts. Yeah.
No,
Happened to me a few
the
times.
worst flights that I was ever on was with Spirit. Which
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
that's not like not a surprise. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There was a
Yeah.
couple times I thought, no, I wasn't like worried that the plane was gonna like go down, but and it must have been coming back, I think, from Maryland one year, and we hit so much turbulence. I thought the bulkheads above everybody, where you have all your luggage, I thought those were just gonna break off and come crashing down on our heads because you were sitting in the plane and they were shaking so bad. You know, they're just like kind of hooked on with posts. You know, it's not like they're really like made into the body of the plane. They're just kind of like hanging there, at least on the Spirit plane that we
Yeah,
were
when
on.
you're flying the
That
great
was
value of airlines.
The last time, well, they were always the cheapest, right?
Oh,
Well,
yeah, for a reason.
when you're a cheap ass college kid that doesn't have a lot of money, like you're gonna book the cheapest flight.
Yeah.
I always look, not quite anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Well-
you don't always book the cheapest flight. Oh, yeah, the cheapest flights with Spirit, the cheapest seafoods with Long John Silver. So, there's a reason why you
But
don't go
one
there.
of them is exponentially better than the other.
Hey, but God forbid, haven't heard of any Spirit planes crashing.
It's because they're the only ones in that airspace. They must pay for the shittiest airspace at all times.
They've
I
got
mean,
to.
oh man, like you said, Walls. I've been on a few Spirit flights where I was like, this could be it. Like, I've flown quite a bit, and very rarely is it ever. I've had a few times, like coming back from Maryland a couple years ago. Not, I wasn't there this year for 2024. It must have been 2022 when I went out there with my folks. I got super sick when I was out there. So
Hmm.
like at the after party, I was there for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, I'm going back, and I was super sick. I've had a lot more times where I've like wanted to kill myself on the plane because you're like, I've had a few times when your teeth feel like they're getting sucked out of your head, like just from the pressure, and I've had a few of
Yeah.
that. But for the most part, like Delta, American, Sun Country, those have all been pretty good to fly on. But I
Yeah.
welcome Spirit again.
I only fly. Well, I mean, Baltimore's a hub for Southwest, so that's like pretty much one of our only
Southwest
choices.
isn't bad too. Yep.
It's not terrible. It's not. It's not. Delta's my favorite, but
Yeah.
I was delayed a bunch, had a lot of canceled flights, got a lot of flight credits. So whilst we got to pick a contest out in the Midwest to go, I got a bunch of flight credits that we got to go and use. So
August
Damn.
2nd.
yeah, it might be August 2nd. I think we've ruled out dive bomb for a NASCAR race. So,
Yeah, I'm going to NASCAR. I ain't blowing a call.
yeah, hey, I don't blame you. That's what you're doing. But I'll tell you, Mike, I went to SHOT Show, walked around SHOT Show.
Yeah.
So those that haven't been to SHOT, I can break it down into like 3 categories.
Mm-hmm.
And so SHOT's going to be the number 1 category, which is going to be the majority of the brands that you'll recognize: the Benellis, the Berettas, the Under Armours, there's Mojo up there. There's
Glock, Smith. It's a lot of firearms. It's
Glock,
predominantly
Smith,
firearms.
Smith and
right?
Wesson. I think. Oh man, who was the one that came back? There's a handgun company that did not come in 23 and came back, or did not come in 24, came back this year, and they were like relegated to the archery department.
Mm.
So I guess there's 4 sections, but I mean, you've got Realtree, Mossy Oak, all the big brands are in one, and then you've got law enforcement in a whole nother area where you can get, like spend a whole day over there. You're not going to get lost, but it's a whole day. And then they've got the archery that's across the street in the Caesars Forum, and then they've got downstairs. And downstairs is a sea of 10 by 10 booths that you don't even see the end of. I didn't even go in that section because there's so many booths and so many companies and so much, there's so much international business from overseas all in Vegas for that weekend. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a lot of black guns.
Yeah.
If you could categorize it as that, like, but I mean, that's what it is, so archery always had like the ATA show, which was like a week or 2 before. But that has kind of been dying since COVID. I think everybody kind of realized we don't need to go to this show. So a lot of like your big bow manufacturers are like, why should we spend $500,000 for a giant booth, flying everybody out here, setting up a giant booth, manning it for how many days, and then for what? So like, and it was kind of the same thing for us. I went to the ATA show 7 years ago, would have been 2018. And I haven't been back since. And I mean, I run an archery shop, and I'm not missing out on anything. And social media kind of gives you the flip side of that. You're not going to miss anything because if there's anything worth seeing, it's going to be all over the internet.
Yeah.
So,
well, a lot of companies are moving away from these big time, like I call them marketing shows, mainly because they're getting more bang for their buck with their direct marketing than they are through these show marketing.
Right.
And so you're seeing more and more money, which in turn is then dumped into consumer shows like an NWTF or a SEWE or something like that, because they see direct results from those shows comparatively to their guess at ROI on some of these like large marketing shows like a SHOT or an ATA, and it's kind of like you're kind of seeing it.
And I mean, you were down in Phoenix at the Sports Inc. show, which is a show that I was at a couple years ago. And it's a buy group show, and most of like your bigger sized sporting goods stores like Coyote Creek, where I work as a Sports Inc. member, your Shields, a lot of your bigger, like Shields is not?
No.
Oh, I thought they were.
Shields is way too big for
They must
Sports
have.
Inc.
I think they used to be, because I want to say some of the Shields guys were down at Sports Inc. the year that I was there. But
Yeah,
there's
maybe.
a lot of other like big archery shops and big gun and archery and sporting good places. That's a big place where everybody goes to place their orders. Well, the problem is a lot of this stuff releases so early. Like Matthews and Hoyt and all these like archery companies are releasing their products in November, and then the Sports Inc. show isn't until February. So we've already seen all of this new stuff. It's already been released. We already have it in our store. Well, I already have all my orders placed before I even need to go to the Sports Inc. show.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's like, what's the point in going there when, just to, it's a fun little vacay. Well, I think when we went to Sports Inc., we misread what day it even starts. So we got there on like Wednesday or something. And then all of a sudden they're like, we go out to eat. We wake up the next day. We go to the show bright and early with all our backpacks. We're, rip roaring and ready to go. And they're like, yeah, what company are you with? They're like, yeah, do you guys have to set up? Well, we were there a day early. The day we thought the show started was the day that setup started.
Oh God.
So we were like, let's not tell anybody about that. But, it was a fun trip. But to be honest, like when Robbie and I were there, we walked around and there was only like a few things that we intentionally waited to place till at the show. So we at least had a little bit of business to do while we were there.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, if
Right.
your sales reps are doing a good job, you have all your stuff done already.
Yeah, and most companies have their deals and their specials and show specials and stuff like that, out to you prior to the shows. But, those shows are more trade shows, right? They're not open to the public. And
Right.
SHOT Show's not really open to the public either. You have to be within the industry, but it's like worldwide. And everyone's like, man, I'd love to go to SHOT Show. Trust me, you could go once and then be done. Because I will guarantee that A, you will get lost, and then B, you're going to get sick. Everybody came home with the SHOT Show crud,
Yep.
and it happens every year. But there's 50,000 people in a confined room. Somebody's bound to be sick. So,
Well, there's so much stuff going around already. Like I don't really know hardly anybody that went to those shows. And it seems like any given day at our store, we're down 3 people for some type of illness.
yeah.
Myself being one of them. I didn't even go to work today. I had some kind of stomach bug.
Yep. Those shows are, I feel like the new wave of the future is going to be getting back to those consumer shows because it's easier to track your ROI. And I hope so because consumer shows are fun,
Right. Correct.
I like consumer shows, but show season's pretty much over. It's coming to an end. I'm actually going to start probably prepping for either, blowing my goose call a little bit or, I might try something different, Mike. Might start practicing a little bit earlier than October this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go the exact opposite of Walls. So Walls practice is spelled P-R-A, practice. I know you don't really do that, but we're going to start a little bit earlier.
Walls doesn't need to. He's proven that.
Right.
Yeah.
Walls is
I
still
did a
deer
little bit
hunting. You
this
said
year,
you guys are doing deer drives this weekend?
Next week, man. It'll be
Next
our last
week.
week.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All your potential booners are going to get shot.
That's the thing, man. We've already killed a few shed bucks. Luckily, they were kind of small, 1.5 years maybe, and stuff like that. But part of it. But we got to kill them.
You're deer hunting, and this is prime time for you, Walls.
Yeah, this is like arguably your
shed
favorite
hunting
time of
season.
year.
Yeah, man. So if I had to pick one thing to do, if I had to choose one thing, I would over goose hunting, over turkey hunting, goose calling. I would walk around the woods and try to find shed antlers. That's what I would do.
The fuck
More than like deer hunting itself, too?
Yeah, I'd care less if I ever shoot another deer in my life, to be honest with you.
What's the point of finding the antlers?
I having history with them.
Well, if you're not
Just
hunting
that.
them, what do you have history with? Just
They're
some
stacked
random
up
deer
in-
walking through the woods that you found his antlers the year before. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, well, he's still alive because I didn't fucking kill him.
Yep. Yeah, I got a stack of antlers over here, man. I can tell you right where I was, where I found them. Not so much the date, but yeah, I just love the chasing the same deer every year. I say I wouldn't care if I shoot another deer, but a big old buck I would, especially one I have history with. But yeah, man,
Well,
sheds.
shooting a doe for you has to be about pointless. You can't even get excited for shooting a doe anymore.
When it's on a
like
deer drive,
how many does do you think you shoot a deer yourself?
oh,
15,
God.
20?
Yeah, at least. I don't even know the exact number this year, lost count, honestly. But
Right.
yeah. So when it's at work and we're doing deer drives, that's how we manage our deer. We don't traditionally stand hunt. We drive them, just to be more effective. But I still get worked up when I'm in a stand with my bow in my hand. And it
Right.
don't matter if it's a slick head or not. I still get that, that feeling. But yeah, it's changed over the years on deer drives for me a little bit. I tend to push a little bit more than I do shoot nowadays.
So
See,
talk to us about the competition you're seeing in the shed hunting woods, because
Yeah.
everybody seems to be like, oh, it's time, waterfowl's over, time to go shed hunting.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think COVID year kind of, when it hit, then nobody was working or whatnot. And what else is there? Let's go in the woods look for antlers. And I guess people found out how much fun it is. And now everybody's doing it. And I mean, social media has made it so much more popular. I know back in the day, man, I knew like two or three people around me that would do it. And now I drive down the road on a Saturday. I'm like, oh, there's somebody walking in that field. I know what they're doing. Up there's a car parked over on this property. I know what they're doing.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just grown so much. I mean, which is good. I'm glad people are out and about, but you
Are
get
you? Are you really
the
glad?
not when they're going places they shouldn't be and beating me to them. But it is what it is, man. But yeah, shed hunting. I actually just did like my first legit walk tonight, and it was good. I found two old ones of all things. I walked right past them last year. I guess I've had a rough start to shed hunting this year, but yeah, I'm gonna start putting on the
I think I
miles
would
and
like shed hunting more if I just found sheds.
right.
I've
Yeah,
only ever
that's
found two, and I think I was with I think I was with one buddy. We just happened to, I found one little tiny little fork, and then he found probably like a 150-inch 8-point side.
wow.
And I mean, we
Oh
were like
man,
freaking out, and like they had found a bunch of like big ones, but outside of that, I mean, I just never find them. Like
right.
I know where bucks are in the fall, but all the spots that I must look just must not winter them to where they're losing them where I can go.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I mean, it seems to be like when you're in them type thing. But I mean, it honestly, it takes a trained eye. I mean,
Hmm.
even me, my first couple walks of the year, I always take, two sheds, a small one and like a medium sized one with me. And I'll just turn around, chuck them over my shoulder, turn back around and try to find them. And I've
Fall's
almost lost them.
practices for shed hunting.
I do. I practice more for shed hunting than I do contest calling.
I've never heard
Yeah.
of it. Did you hear this, Ted? I know you got a
It's,
blank look on your face.
I'm just
Walls brings
perplexed.
sheds.
Like,
He brings sheds
yeah.
from the truck to train his eye for
Yep.
finding sheds. That I've never
so
heard of anybody doing that.
He
I mean,
Yeah,
it
fetches
man.
them
makes
like a
sense.
dog.
Yeah. Yep. No bullshit, man. And I think it helps a lot. I mean, depending on which way the band or if it's tines down, you look for the curvature of the beam. If it's in open hardwood and it's tines up, you see two little tiny points. It yeah, just kind of trains your eye. I think there's something to be said for it. I mean, people that are finding them. It yeah.
Do you take your dog with you?
My oldest one I do. Yeah,
Okay.
she's found a handful of them. I never trained her for it, but she's I give them to them around the house and stuff, so she knows what they are. And
Conquest scents, we have a couple sticks of it. They make like an antler scent that
right.
you can put like on a shed for training your dog. That seems to be kind of a popular thing too. I think there's some YouTube channels like how to
Yeah,
train your dog to shed hunt.
sure.
I feel like a shed probably loses its scent though, and from the beginning probably doesn't have much scent on it other than right there at the pedicule or whatever. Like that's the
Yeah,
only thing
probably. I would
that has
think I
scent,
would agree with that.
and it probably
But
doesn't stay
obviously,
on
like
there very long.
squirrels and rabbits and everything seem to find them right away. So unless they just see them and immediately, over decades, or I say decades, thousands of years of
Yeah,
finding something to chew on, maybe they just stumble across them and start gnawing on them. I don't know. Um, yeah,
yeah,
so you bring sheds for the first couple of shed hunts to
yep,
just throw out there and get your eye used to looking for them, right?
yep, correct.
Okay, and then you're walking what every day? Have you run into any trespassers or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. Last year I called a couple people where they weren't supposed to be, and yeah,
You said, "Get
that
on out
makes
of here." This
Go
is
on,
my
get it.
this is my shed hunting area.
Go on, take your antlers with you. They had a couple, not real big ones, but yeah, they had a
You
couple
didn't
with them.
confiscate them.
I didn't. No.
Well,
John,
are
have you ever
you?
thrown yourself a shed and you can't find it?
Yeah, I mean, like I've started kicking around leaves and stuff. I'm like, I know there's some bitches right here, and it was right there the whole time. I just couldn't see it. So
So,
yeah, I've almost lost them, but I did find it.
so how much dirt are you like? How much ground are you covering here on like a daily basis?
On a daily basis. So I didn't look tonight, but I'm guessing I probably walked right around 3 miles tonight. Um,
Do you
it all
track? You track it, right?
I I used to. Yeah, I haven't yet this year, but I'm going to walk well over 100 miles for sure. Well over 100 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just around my house, really. I'm planning on going to Kansas here next month, out to Corey's place and shed hunt out there with him. I was supposed to apply for a turkey tag out there, and I missed the deadline, so that's out of the book. But yeah, man, I'll be covering some ground. It all depends. I mean, I don't like going on sunny days just because of the shadows and stuff in the woods. It kind of messes me up. It's hard to see, so I try to wait for cloudy days or in the rain. In the rain's my favorite time to go of all times.
Really?
Oof.
Yeah, I mean the antlers just kind of have a shine to them, and all the leaves and grass gets kind of matted down, so it just makes them stick
Sure.
up a little bit more.
Yeah, makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been told the shed hunting is very easy, and the simplest way to put it is walk where white-tailed deer walk.
Pretty much.
And it seems
Yeah.
like such a simple concept, but
And that was going to be a question that I ask you, Walls, because you pretty much just get on some deer trails and just go for a walk.
For the most part, I mean,
Aside from if you're going to like scout a field or something,
right,
where
yeah,
they could be out in a field that they might drop their antlers anywhere out there,
yeah,
but like
yeah.
in the woods.
I always try to focus on like southeast, southwest facing slopes, especially areas I know they bed, and then yeah, pretty much just zigzag all of that to where they're heading to feed wherever that may be, and yeah, just not necessarily random, but if I'm just seeing deer shit around me, I just zigzag, do grids back and forth. So I don't
Sure.
really necessarily just stick to deer trails. I could probably count on one hand how many antlers I found just laying like right on a trail. Most of them are just in the most random spots, it seems
When
like.
they're just milling around looking for browse and stuff like that, they
Yeah,
knock one
pretty
off.
much. Yep.
I thought I saw a statistic the other day that said if you find a shed, it's like a very, very high chance that within 100 yards of where you find that the match side is. I don't
Not
remember
from what I've seen.
but they have found some, like I think they had a couple that were like miles apart.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
I don't remember where it was. I'll have to look for that. They had like a statistic from it was like a distance. So I don't know, however they did it. They must have found one and then measured a grid search around that to wherever they found it, and then they had a database because they had it was a pretty high percentage was like within probably the exact same property. It's not
Right.
like the deer,
U.S.
again,
Fish and
it just-
Wildlife come out with that?
I don't know. I don't remember who it was,
Yeah.
but I thought it was an interesting statistic. I mean, I am not good at finding sheds, and I'm not good at finding mushrooms.
Yeah, I've never
One of the sheds
really
that I
looked for
found was
shrooms,
looking
but-
for mushrooms, but I mean that's like the next thing, the next season here coming up. As soon as like mushroom starts, that's kind of when turkey hunting gets to be good. But like you get a lot of people in the woods that are looking for mushrooms that don't hunt at all. You're
Mhm.
quote unquote foragers and stuff.
Well, they're doing that for money, right?
I mean, I think some people. I don't know, and
Yeah.
I've gone on record to say, I mean, I think morels are good. I don't think that they're the price that people pay for them good.
Mm.
I don't know.
I've never had
A
one.
lot,
Never
a lot of
found
people,
one either.
A lot of people would argue with me, but I don't know. I think they're a little overrated.
So
Yeah.
you've got strategies, and then like, all right. So if I wanted to start shed hunting tomorrow, what kind of advice would you give, Walls?
Well, I guess it's all
Buy some
situational
shed
too.
glasses.
Dude, those things, I think that's a huge gimmick.
They make
My
they make
God.
glasses. Ted and Matt, I don't know if you guys have seen them that are supposed to like make the antlers pop more. So you buy a $50 pair of shed hunting glasses.
Yeah.
Walls, did you buy
Get
some?
the fuck out of here. You're serious?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look it up. Yeah,
Okay,
it's been advertised all over my Facebook because I've been looking at sheds and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Hand up, right? I was wrong about the coon cuffs. I didn't think that was real. So,
but no, Teddy. I mean, to answer your question, I think it's all situational. I mean, you guys are pretty much flatland. I mean, I would say if you know a field that is holding a lot of geese or a lot of deer, whatever kind of woods is close to that, I would go grid search it.
right?
Unlike up here, we got hills, topography. Very rarely will I face or shed hunt a north facing slope. It's kind of pointless in my opinion. I have found them there randomly, but majority of them, try to find their bedding areas, south facing slopes, field edges, any kind of thick stuff where they might be bedding. Yeah, just got to have the eye for it
You just got to have the shed gene.
and put your time in. Yeah, shed gene. Yeah.
All right, dude. I've Googled these shed the fungi's. Is that what he's talking about?
Well, that's
I don't
got
know
to
what
be
they're
for
called,
that's got to
but-
be for mushrooms.
This can't be real. They're sunglasses for mushrooms and sheds,
Yeah.
and it's called the fungi's.
That's what they're there. The fun guys. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, Mike. You probably should carry them up there.
They would sell.
People would probably buy them,
I think
man.
it would make us puke how many of those they probably. I
Yep.
mean, because I would assume that I don't know, maybe I'm behind the curve when it comes to finding mushrooms. But like when I was growing up in central Minnesota, nobody went out and looked for mushrooms. Like nobody was doing that. And then like down here in southeast part of the state, everybody's looking for mushrooms.
Yeah, it
So-
seems to be a pretty big popular thing out there.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's like certain areas that they grow or don't grow. I mean, I would assume northern Minnesota probably not the right soil and it gets too cold. But I don't know. And I think you
Yeah.
like have different kinds of trees and stuff. I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
So I've been to your house walls. You've got buckets and buckets and buckets of these sheds, right?
Mhm.
What are you gonna do with them?
I don't know. I mean, every once in a while, I'll pick them up and look at them, to reminisce, not going to lie. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe in my older years, I mean, they're worth money. I mean, people use them for stuff. And
They're worth
Well,
a lot of money if you sell them as dog chews.
yeah, I mean, so last year, shed hunting story here. I follow people on YouTube, watch their shed hunting videos. There's this guy from Utah, actually. He's on a quest to find a shed antler in every state, which
What's
is
his
pretty
name?
cool. Ben,
Is that the Hush guy?
it's close. Yeah, it's Shed Crazy is his name.
Okay. shout out
He's
to
real
the
good
guy.
friends.
Teddy would probably agree. How bored do you have to be to watch somebody else look for sheds?
Dude, I love it, man. I love it. It's like NASCAR. People are like, how do you sit there and watch cars go in a circle, man?
Oh,
I'm
if I
in.
need to
All
take
in.
a nap, I'm putting on either golf or NASCAR.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Oh,
But
no, it's not that guy. Shed Crazy is shedcrazy.com is not his website.
no, and I know all things, that place is in Delaware too, down by the beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be Get Shed Crazy, but yeah, he came out and found a shed here with me, but he looked at my pile and he estimated around $6,000 I had.
No shit.
Yeah, because he
go
sells
per
the
pound,
elk
don't they?
antlers and stuff. Yeah, per pound. I don't know what. I guess it all depends if they're brown, or
Mhm.
fresh, year old and stuff. But
Yeah.
This guy's got 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah, dude.
Oh, he was at the Western Hunt Expo.
Oh yeah, I was bullshitting with him.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah, he's actually started to follow the contest scene a little bit. Once he came out, he didn't really. I mean, he knew about waterfowl, and he didn't realize how big the waterfowl community necessarily was and stuff. And yeah,
And
I
we
was
didn't
talking to him
realize
for a
how
while.
big the shed community was.
That's right, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it, if you're not, I would say your whitetail antlers, unless it's a big one, it's probably not worth much money.
Right.
Like your little ones, you could probably sell as like a dog chew or something. But a lot of your bigger ones, you need to have some size. Like if you're going to start doing like knife handles,
Yeah,
Or if
for
you're going to
sure.
do like chandeliers and stuff. That's what I was going to say. You should do walls. You should start just like in Jackson Hole. They got that big arch
Mhm.
of
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
antlers. You should do that for the end of your driveway.
I thought about doing an antler Christmas tree, but
That'd be cool.
yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. They're sitting over here in the corner, literally just collecting dust, but
What's
What
the
is
that's pretty
biggest
cool.
one you found?
Biggest one I found is actually off of. I killed a deer the next year. It's my velvet deer. I mean, I guess this is gonna be on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Here, I'll come over here. I'll show you.
Everybody gets to see Walls' trophy room,
Yeah, but
aka just his house.
but that velvet deer right there, he scored 146, and I found his sheds the year before, and he was actually a little bigger when I found his sheds. I think we scored the sheds. I mean, it's rough, you guessing score or width, but we judged them right about 148 on the
Okay,
sheds. So yeah, I found the match set. That's my biggest.
that's
Wow.
pretty sweet.
What
Yeah.
was
Well,
your
Yeah.
first
Well,
shed?
my first shed, it's actually hanging up over there. It's a little 4 point side. Found it with my buddy Alex Bow. He's gotten me into a bunch of shit, man.
Yeah,
He's turned me into a
he's your
monster.
gateway drug.
Yeah, got me into shed hunting, got me into goose hunting, or yeah, goose hunting, goose calling.
hell
Bad
yeah.
influence.
Does he shed hunt quite a bit too?
He'll come out a couple times here and there just to get a
Yeah.
little exercise, but nah. Me and my buddy Dallas, we're pretty big into it. We'll
Okay.
we'll we'll go for a long while. You know Dallas, yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep, yeah, we're pretty big into it. Love it.
I
Well,
mean,
this
it's
wouldn't
something to
be.
do in the off season, right?
Yeah,
And I
for
think
sure.
that's
Yeah.
and I think that's where like the whole mushroom hunting people go crazy for it is I think they think that they're so good just because you found it, right?
Right.
Like you went out, you looked for them, you found them, now you take them home. Like everything is so hyped up. Like whereas if you
Sure.
just like went to the store and bought them, you'd be like, oh, it tastes like a normal mushroom.
Yeah. Comes full circle, I guess.
Well, if you're Mike, you know they all taste like normal mushrooms, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of cool. I guess like putting the shoe on the other foot, right? You know, people look at us like, man, you travel around the summertime and you blow your
Blow bird
goose calling
whistles.
contests. Like, what are you? You know, why would you do that? You
Yeah, you're not
fucking
wrong.
weirdo. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, I get it. Like, you know, something to do in the off season for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
Yeah.
this wouldn't be a John Walls interview unless we talked a little NASCAR too. So let's get we just started. We had Daytona 500. Why don't you give us your season preview of NASCAR because we're underway now, and we'll give us the quick NASCAR preview for the year, and we'll end it there. But here's our yearly NASCAR review.
I got a I got a question too for you. All right, I got a NASCAR question. I'm excited.
All right. Okay.
Who's that guy that is the real life Ricky Bobby?
The real
It's
life Ricky
Cletus
Bobby.
Cletus McFarland.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yep. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So you got to give us some background on Cletus McFarland too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, so he's racing in a lower series that I pay attention to, but I don't really know the ins and out of. But yeah, he got in a pretty bad wreck at Daytona this past weekend. Tore up his car pretty bad.
Ouch.
Yeah. I mean, it was avoidable. I think he just tensed up and just held the fuck on and it just crashed. But I mean, I'm like, turn, dude, turn. What are you doing? But I don't know. I'm not in that situation. But so what are you looking for, Matt? My
Yeah, why don't you give us your
NASCAR
your
preview?
NASCAR outlook? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking for something to do that now that football is over, and I've adopted I watched the Daytona 500, and there was a couple big wrecks, and it was fucking sick. So
Yeah, you'll have that at those restrictor plate type races when they're racing, nose to tail, side by side, going fast. I mean, 190 mile an hour. You're going to have somebody that pushes the wrong way and cause a whole shit show, which you saw. And yeah, my favorite driver, Joey Logano,
Mhm.
caused the big one. Just totally
That
avoidable.
is your favorite driver, isn't it?
No, he's my least favorite.
Yeah, Slogano.
It was just frustrating because, in all honesty, I mean, he had the car to beat. I mean, it was his race to lose, in my opinion, at Daytona, and he just got impatient and caused a big wreck. But I don't know, man. This year, there's a lot of young drivers that are badass. I'm looking forward to it. There's so many different tracks. There's a lot of road courses now, which is kind of different. NASCAR is always traditional, been like an oval type sport, but There's a lot of road courses. They race on the streets in Chicago, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that'd be cool to
Um,
see.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's usually around 4th of July, and man, the crowds out there are incredible. They come out. I mean, I guess it's a dense populated city, obviously, but
Are they going
yeah,
back to Vegas too?
yeah. They'll be in Vegas not long from now, probably just a few weeks. Um, yeah, they
But it's
changed.
not like the Indy 500 where they shut down all the roads and stuff. Don't they have
Oh
Vegas
no,
Motor Speedway? Yeah.
no, yeah. Now Daytona's the biggest one, obviously. I mean, there's a couple of crown jewels throughout the year, but now they start off their season with the biggest race of the year.
What
Um,
race or races are you going to?
that's to be determined. I'll definitely be going to Dover here in Delaware. That they actually moved that to late, or it's actually the weekend of Die Bomb, July something. But I'm not looking forward to that because it's probably going to be hot as hell here. It's usually our traditionally our hottest week of the year. Teddy, I'm guessing it might be the same weekend as Delaware State too. I'm guessing, but
Yeah, probably. I'll probably have to go to Dover instead. I want to go back. I've been there a few times, and I really want to go back.
I've never
yeah,
been. I've never been to a race. I really want to.
They're
it's
fun.
like anything, man. It's different when you're in person. I mean, you don't really realize how fast they're going until you're there, and it's like, wow, fuckers are flying.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I might be going to Charlotte in May. We'll see. I don't know, man. Might have some things coming up to where I can't really travel to as many NASCAR races this year. We'll see.
Right.
Um,
Well, what about a race that you really want to go to and haven't been to?
oh man, probably the Daytona 500.
Daytona.
Yeah, I've been in the summertime. They have two races there. They have one in the summer, and it was cool. But long story. I mean, the grandstands were under construction and stuff. We didn't really have really good seats, but it was still a great experience. But I've kind of hit all my tracks I really wanted to go to, and they're all local around, the East Coast. Kind of, we got a lot of good ones here. But yeah, I want to go back to Charlotte, man. That's the hub of NASCAR. They got all the race
Yeah.
shops, the Hall of Fame there, and
I've been to the Hall of Fame there. That place was cool.
it is, man. Even if you're not necessarily a big fan, it's just cool to see all the history and stuff. They do a
Yeah.
great job of laying that whole museum out, and yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I love going fast turn left.
What about Talladega? Are you going back to Dega?
I've never been, and I regret not going in my younger years because it looks like a hell of a party. I mean, I'm not scared. I'll go down and have fun,
Just
but
a little nervous.
yeah, just a little nervous, man. I can't do it like I used to, but
Dude, I would 100% go with you for that. That looks like
yeah.
an incredible party.
Oh yeah,
It looks
yeah.
like an
There's
experience you gotta go do. Yeah.
yeah, yep. Maybe we'll have to do it sooner than later. I don't know.
What state is that in?
Alabama.
Alabama. Okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Cool.
they have a Talladega Boulevard, and every year they have videos of the shenanigans that go on there. I mean, they have midget mud wrestling. They got, I
I
mean,
think it could be
you
fun.
you name it,
Dude,
man. You name it. There's stuff happening.
it looks like a
That's for
big
sure.
party. It looks like a
Yeah,
huge party. I'd be interested in going to that for sure.
there's a whole Instagram page that they post up pictures of like the Monday after race weekend of all the cool things they find in the infield that drunk people have left and everything. And yeah, it's pretty wild. So wild that people have died
Oh my God.
No
Oh my
shit.
God.
yeah.
Bury me at
Yeah,
Talladega.
I know, right? Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Cool.
Well,
Awesome.
I've only got I mean if you guys want to like kind of wrap this up, we've been kind of running a little bit for about an hour and a half now, haven't we?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's up
Yeah.
to y'all. The only other thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and it's just a random question, switching gears, terrible transition. But did you see those guys in Texas that got busted down there?
Uh-uh.
No.
The four waterfowlers that got busted for shooting over the limit.
No.
I
So
don't think so.
No, I didn't see
so
it.
four waterfowlers down in Texas got busted for shooting over the limit, and the Texas game wardens walked up and they had like 4 times their daily limit.
Oh, I did
Oh, I
see
think
that.
I
All of them all
heard
laid
that.
out on the back of the truck.
All laid out on the back of a
Yeah.
truck, and the game
Wow.
wardens asked them why did they shoot over their limit, and they were like, the ducks kept coming, and
They
we
were
kept
so
shooting.
honest. They were so honest. They were like,
Yeah,
it was like
the
nothing
most
we've ever seen before.
the most American answer. They just had a pile of widgeon or something like that. Just
Yeah, I was gonna say,
stacked
what
up.
ducks were they?
Dude,
Yeah.
That
Holy
article is
cow.
pretty funny. Yeah,
It
you got to
was the
check
most
it out.
honest answer there. Just like, honestly, I've never seen it before. I just couldn't stop myself.
Yeah. Oh
Oh
man.
man. Yeah.
What an answer. What, like, there's no lie there. He's like, you got us. I mean, but they just kept coming and we just kept shooting them.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, a guy doesn't have that many days like that, where there's always that expression. We could have shot 100. We could have shot this many. We could have shot that many. No, how many could you have actually shot? There's like just not that many days where everything lines up and you just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. Because at some
Right.
point something's going to change. The wind will switch. The sun comes up. Whatever it might be, and your hunt slows way down. But yeah,
Dude.
I mean, I think they were on like private land or something too. So it sounded like they heard him shooting and shooting and shooting while they were checking other people. And then they finally like pinpointed where they were and went in there and they just had tons of ducks.
Yeah, I
Jeez,
mean,
man.
I got to give it to the guys. I mean, hell, they were honest about it. They're like, yeah, you got us. We just couldn't stop. And I mean, they weren't trying to hide it. They didn't run.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
wrap us up here, Mike.
Sounds good. Yeah, well, Walls, we appreciate you being on.
Hey, man.
Glad to hear
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to hear that show out in Utah was good, and we hope you find a bunch of sheds, enjoy a little bit of NASCAR here or there. We always enjoy seeing what Walls is up to on the weekends. I mean, usually it involves some bush light and stuff like that, but no, good to have you on. Haven't seen you in a bit. Teddy,
Yeah,
Matt,
man.
thank you guys for being on. We should Teddy's show season is wrapping up here pretty soon, so we should be a little bit more consistent, again with the podcasts, and going to have some more guests coming on. So make sure you guys stay tuned, and thanks for listening to another episode of The Hail Call.